I've been fishing for over half my life. In the past 20 years, I've met some of the most amazing people through the love of angling. I've fished some of the biggest matches in the UK and Europe, and against some of the best anglers in the country.
61.50.
Some of them I'm lucky enough to call my mates. On this channel, I'm bringing back some old friends I've met along the way to talk about past experiences, memorable events, and some of the best times we've shared on the bank together. My name's Bradley Voak. This is the Polar Podcast. How are we doing?
All right, mate. Second take.
Second take, yeah.
More cables.
More cables. There's a lot of cables in this room.
Like a packet of super noodles in here.
Yeah, well, it's taken long enough to set it up. This was meant to happen 6 months ago, wasn't it? But no, we're here. First one. So we're going to jump straight into it and talk about the trip we've just come back from.
Yeah.
Bay Lakes.
Bay Lakes.
And
Big up Bay.
that was a Viva la Bay. That's the same.
Viva
isn't
la
it?
Bay, that's it.
And what a trip that was as well, wasn't it?
Oh, unbelievable, mate. I think we've spoken about it quite a few times. There's a lot of things that make up a French trip. I think it's the group of lads you go with. The food, the how far it is, the ease of it, and
There was a
Bay was about perfect.
yeah, it was a good trip. There was a lot of us. 17 of us.
Is it 17 in it?
17 of us. And just about every person walked out of there saying, wow, what a venue.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been to France twice. That was my second time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you can, I think really it's holiday, and I think that's where you got to get it. You got to get your head right. You go out to.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. There is two ways to look at it, isn't it? You can go to France to sit there for a week and just fully indulge yourself on fishing and catching and trying to catch the most or the biggest or whatever your achievements are, or you go there for a holiday with your mates.
100%.
There's two different ways.
But I think there's different venues for that, isn't there? I don't
agree.
think I would be going to if I wanted that for a week. I would be going to not somewhere where it's a lake exclusive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would be going somewhere to a Gigantica, let's say. Do you know what I mean? Where you feel like you're going to be tested against your, and I'm not saying that I cleared up at Bay. I had free fish, but my priorities are having a few beers, having a laugh, and chilling out with friends and meeting new people. I don't know what 17.
No. What do you know? Half?
Maybe, yeah, but only from shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably knew 6 people properly.
Yeah.
And the rest of them bumped into them at shows. I mean, I ended up doubling up with Shipsy.
Yeah.
And I'd only met Shipsy twice.
Yeah, he's a character though, isn't he?
Yeah, quality, mate.
Yeah.
But he's good for morale.
Yeah.
Like, that was where because I think I'd struggle for a week in my own swim. I mean, we had it, didn't we? But
we had a great,
the trip before, I was on my own, teeth for the wind, horrible, blank for the week.
That was a grueling week, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think I would have gone insane if I didn't have you next to me, and that was the first time we proper met.
Yeah, look at us now.
And you just get on with you just try and get on with it, don't you? You make France what you want to make of it, and that's where I'm. It's not my real fishing.
No, we treated that as a holiday.
Yeah,
and I think the majority of the boys did as well.
Yeah, everybody had fun.
Yeah,
But the other thing is I learn a lot. You go out there, and without really realising it, you're.
Well, no, because there's. It was a big group of us, and you all talk. I mean, we was very sociable. We every evening we ran the rods in and went down to dinner.
Yeah.
And you all have a big chat there as well.
Yeah.
So without even realising it, you're almost learning how other people are fishing, and if they're doing successfully, you then
adopt that.
Sort of, you bring it into your own style of fishing.
Yeah.
Without realising it,
you look at what Reese. You know, I had a long chat with Reese multiple times throughout and he was top rod by significant amounts. I mean,
he fished
Percy was close.
Yeah,
but by Wednesday, I think he'd had 9-10 fish. You know what I mean? Good sizes as well.
Yeah,
well, 65 pounder. But sitting there chatting to him, it's going. You know, I'm just putting this in my bait, but I'm just doing that. Little yellow hook baits, little wafters, and you know, and then I start adopting that, or you know, some bits you don't, some bits you do, and then you go, all right, I've got a good chance now. You get more confidence as the week goes on.
Yeah,
whether that's the right thing or not, I don't know.
Well, it also, I mean, I was saying it to quite a few people as the week was going on, because you're there for that week. You can physically see the fish moving up and down that lake as well.
I don't think I've ever been to a lake where they showed so often, and there was different styles of showing as well.
That's the biggest thing I learned from that trip, the different style of shows.
Yeah.
And I've never thought about it ever before.
I see it quite a lot on my English lakes, where you've got different, you know, I've got on my English lakes, there's a lot of bream in there. So I see a lot of bream shows, a lot of tent shows.
Yeah.
And then there's the odd carp show, dusk, dawn or whatever. Whereas at Bay, there was, I would say a lot of people were getting confused between a tent show and a carp show.
Yeah.
There was a lot of tent show in there.
Yes.
They're more slappy on their tail.
But also, the way the carp were coming out of the water.
Yeah.
You had them you had them coming vertical.
Yeah.
And then you had them sort of just...
So from my opinion, and I mean, Scott Lloyd's the man for this as well, is them two shows. You've got moving shows, which are the porpoisey ones, dolphins, and then you've got a cleaning show or a feeding show, which is a vertical. Because when you watch them properly, they come up and open their gill plates,
right,
and then drop back down.
Yeah, because the ones that go vertical, I'm just imagining they're coming from the depth.
Yeah, that's it.
So they're coming from the depths and coming straight up. Whereas the ones that are dolphining, they're already halfway at that level.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's like an excitable show.
Yeah.
Like they're getting all G'd up, no wind, or going up the other end of the lake. And I mean, that's what we saw a lot, was they were going from my left-hand margin between me and Reese, and then they were almost heading up into Adams Bay.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is you'd only ever see him showing outside Reese, in between me, Reese and Percy, and then they'd start showing. You wouldn't see him come over Cole or Shipsy. It was really bizarre. Strange. But I think there was a lot of hatches going on, and I think you know, as we've said earlier, I think if you could fish zigs there, I think we would have had it off.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's big fish, and the owner wants his fish fed, and I do appreciate that. But I think if you're sensible with zigs, I don't know, it's a bit of a funny ball.
But then how can you police who's capable enough to fish zigs?
Yeah.
You can't police it. So the easiest option is probably just going, right, that's it, end up.
And not only that, at what point do you... Yeah, if the fish get caught on zigs, I don't know, all year round, no one's spomming any bait in, the fish ain't doing the fish any good.
No, they get into that weight for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the stock in there is incredible.
But I'd love to know, you know, I mean, obviously what we've just spoken about when the mic was cut out with regards to bait quantities, because I'd love to know the right time of year to go over there and fill it in, because there's got to be a time that they switch on. And when they switch on, I mean, it'd be insane. I don't think, you know, because everyone talks about how much a 20-pound fish can eat, a 30-pound fish can eat. How much folk can a 65-pound, 70-pounder eat in one sitting?
Yeah, it must be a hell of a lot.
You know, and we went out there pre-spawning.
Yeah.
So I was fully expecting, you know, I mean,
we said on the chat, didn't we? Like the boys before our France trip, pre-spawning, we thought they was going to be on the bait.
Yes.
How much bait did we pair to take with us.
Yeah.
There was boys with 100 odd kilo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had about 40 kilo prepared. I don't know how much you bought. I don't know how much.
So I took a mixture. I mean, I got a bit of a deal off that munch bait. I didn't end up using it, but I probably took total 35, 40 kilo of boilie.
Yeah.
And then I bought 10 of maize out there and half a bag of pellet.
Yeah. And I bought 35 key back.
Yeah. I
used less than 5 kilo.
Exactly that. I mean, it's done my fishing for the year.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice. Mate, I ended up bringing back more. I ended up bringing back a whole bag of pellet.
Yeah.
And I bought half a bag, so I ended up.
Yeah. we worked out very quickly that them fish just weren't on big beds of bait, was
No.
We're talking a handful.
Yeah.
And that's all we was fishing with.
Yeah, and but I think, as we've already discussed, I think everybody's got that preconception that you go to France and you're going to fish over a ginormous bed of bait because they're big fish, and naturally everyone's going to think that. But I think if I was to go back there and have that week again with a bit of hindsight, there'd be a lot of things I would have done differently. And I'm not saying that I would have reinvented the wheel or anything like that. Just a few bits and pieces I would have.
Like what? What's your one thing that you would change how you fished that?
So we worked out, obviously Shipsy had a Tolson bait boat, amazing bit of kit.
Yeah.
And it tells you how far you are from, you put it in your home point to what we were working out to be the middle of the lake. We worked that out at 95 metres. I mean, that was by eye, sound in the swim and blah, blah, blah. So obviously I was doubled up with Shipsy. I almost fished my boundary off the bat. Yeah. And I wish I never did.
Right.
I would have fished it, say if my boundary was at, don't know, let's say 25 wraps, 100 yards. I would have fished at, say, 18. And then let them come in past me to then potentially either push out to them or let them naturally come into my baiting spot. Whereas I was instantly, you look at an expanse of water and where there are no features, there's no islands, there's no, there's no weed or very little weed. You naturally just go to your furthest point because where else are they going to be? But they weren't.
But that's an interesting point as well, letting the fish come in. How often was we resting the pegs at bay?
I mean, I rested mine for a day when I went to the shop.
Yeah.
When I had a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And got off the lake, which is another good talking point that we should be all discussing because I think it's a massive, massive plus. But when we were resting it, the whole lake was resting. That was a communal rest rather than I'm going to rest my swim and let them come in. And there was obviously boys that, Adam, unbelievable fishing for the week. It was just top angling.
It was top angling. He started. I think he fished the first 2 or 3 days, didn't he?
Caught a load of tench.
Yeah, he was only picking up tench, so he was resting the days and only fishing the nights.
Yeah,
and started picking them up.
But
how hard is it to do that?
Yeah.
When you're on your holiday and you're there to fish and you're not fishing. It's hard.
Yeah. Everybody on the drive out there, I was thinking it the same. And you sit there on the drive, I'm not going to fish the first night. Yeah. I'm going to I'm going to get my marker rod out. I'm going to wrap my rods up. First light, Sunday morning, I'm going to go for it. No one does it, do they? And it's best laid plans and all that. You get out there, have one of them little dumpy Cronenbergs, you're on holiday, so you get your rods out.
We all do it.
Yeah, and you think...
No, I'll let them hold up in my peg. Yeah. Won't put any pressure on them. Yeah, you have a beer, put the rods out.
But you done the same though, Brad. Obviously, you were doubled up with Reese, you were in the corner.
Yeah.
You rested your swim for a couple of days.
2 different days. It weren't consecutive days.
No.
So I rested it on the Tuesday, then I rested it on the Thursday. I fished the Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's,
But then I had a fish on the Wednesday and then rested it on the Thursday and had the big one on the Friday. Yeah. So it worked both times. Yeah. So yeah, no, I was happy because realistically, I picked the wrong side.
Yeah.
And I found that out very quickly when Reese was having it off.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I made me bed. I had to lay in it.
Yeah, and that I think that's the other thing is what I think with French fishing, you're in a draw.
Yeah.
Lake's full.
Yeah.
On our lake 2, there was no spare swims.
No, there wasn't.
You weren't going to get a move.
No.
And I would love to know how. I don't consider myself anywhere near an elite angler or whatever, but I'd love to know how somebody of an elite angler, how they would have worked my peg certainly differently to me to have different results. I mean, I had 3 fish. I'm buzzing. They weren't big uns by any means.
No.
Didn't even break my English PB.
No.
What's the luck? As you was the chance. Exactly.
And you come away more than happy with that.
Oh, mate, I'm over the moon. But I think that but it comes back to that original point of it's a holiday.
100%.
It's not my English fishing.
No.
It's where I want to spend my time. I want to walk it. I want to potentially pre-bait it. I want to, Whereas France, I think there's a few things that as we go back to it, a few things obviously do differently with the original question of not fish far enough away, and then start with singles. I would start with singles.
Yeah.
Just a real blatant white pop up.
Or if you don't want to fish them singles, just a solid.
Yeah. Cut the solid bags out.
Yeah.
Even fling out, take 3 pre-tied.
Yeah.
So then get in your swim, rods out, bosh, free.
Well, it worked for Lloyd straight away, didn't it?
Yeah, mate.
Straight away, £40 mirror or common. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was a 39 because Shipsy had that on the Friday, didn't he?
He did.
And it was 40. But that just, that was another thing because, it's a weird, solid bags. I get there, free pre-tied solid bags, punt them out, then get your bivvy up, then get your house up. You've got a week to settle it in.
100%.
But if you can get that, I think that's the other, getting that first fish out of the way. As soon as you got that first fish under your belt,
all the pressure's
off, and
gone,
you probably don't realise it, but you're actually angling better because you're not so nervous about it. You're just doing what you do.
That's probably my worst thing. If I'm struggling for the first couple of days, I chop and change, when really I didn't need to chop and change anything.
No,
I just needed to let the fish push on me.
Yeah,
because they move about that lake so much. We see it firsthand.
Yeah,
they started in front of me, went on to Reese, stayed there for a while, pushed all the way up to the bay, and then come all the way back again.
The only thing I would say that sort of really pranged me out was Reese was catching. Then Percy was sort of diagonal closer to me, but across the other side of the lake.
Yeah.
Percy had a few.
Yeah.
Done well. And then this was on the Monday, I think. By the Tuesday, I'm thinking, well, my rods are probably not far off the back of Percy.
Yeah. Not
far off the back of what's going on. You know what I mean? And then you start doubting yourself. And you go
start doubting yourself.
Well, they've moved from Reese to why haven't they bounced into me?
Yeah. I just think they just didn't get that far at that point, because at the end of the week, you had 3. Percy on the Saturday morning had only had 4.
Yeah. 4 big uns as well.
4 big uns, but you can't handpick what one takes you back.
No. It's hard. It's just as hard to catch the smallest in the lake.
Yeah,
it's the biggest.
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. The bait boats, we 50-50 split with the bait boats? Probably half did and half didn't take bait boats. Do you think they had an edge?
What, bait boats?
Yeah.
I think I mean, obviously I had the Boatman Vulcan borrowed off one of my pals, and Shipsy had the Tolson.
Yeah.
The Tolson is the king of all kings. Yeah. And the only thing I would say was an edge for Shipsy. Obviously, he only caught 1 fish, but looking at the technology that we had on hand, he had a Ray Marine as well. Is it Ray Marine he's got on the iPad? And we look at the depths. I think that's a bit of a game changer, but I think you could probably get that same effect via a deeper tied to the back. Really, it's the GPS. When I buy a bait boat or potentially build a bait boat, it'd be GPS. I wouldn't go anything. I wouldn't do anything else. But with regards to whether casting and bait, in France, you're on holiday. Why do you want to mess about casting, putting out 10 kilo of bait at 20 rats, 25? Well, you know, don't get me wrong. Chopper loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
You know, and that's Chopper's style of fishing. Yeah. Probably a bit like, you know, Tom Maker or something like that. But if bait boats are available, mate, you can't not. You know what I mean? But I don't know whether that's a disservice to, or not a disservice, but are they spooking off them beds of bait? If you were to put out 5 kilos via a spom, you know it ain't going to go, however we all think we're good, it ain't going to go within a bivvy. Do you know what I mean? In a bin lid.
You're going to be so much more accurate with a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen it where lakes switch off due to that, you know, that concentrated thing of bait. I've seen, you know, lakes switch off because of it, because they just get wise to it, don't they? It's not, you know, but if I, you know, when we go back, I'll be having a bait boat all day long. I wouldn't, you know, just for the sake of ease. It's just,
some people hate them, don't they?
But I think there's a time and a place for them. I think
there's a time and a place for them.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to France on holiday, crack on, do what you want. I've got no opinion on it. If somebody wanted to put their bait out via a drone, crack on. or if someone had a drone, that's the other one, is everyone moans about drones now. Do you know what I mean? And you go, well, if someone's got a drone on the lake I'm on, show me the footage. Let me have a look at it then. You know what I mean? Crack on. You've spent 500 quid on a drone. I'm not going to spend 500 quid on a drone.
No.
But I'll have a look at what you footage.
100%.
You know, what's the difference between looking on Google Maps prior to going? We all do it.
Or the GPS on a bait boat.
Yeah, or GPS on a bait boat. It's technology.
It's all going to tell you where the fish are, isn't it?
Yeah. You know,
but that is like what you just said. You hit the nail on the head there. That's the key difference between going to France for holiday and being super chilled about it.
Yeah.
To putting 15 key out with a spom on your syndicate. It's graft.
Yeah.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
And I'll make you right. I can't be asked. If I'm 3 beers deep, 4 beers deep, I don't want to be...
4 beers.
There will be spoms everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, and let's be honest, we've just discussed it on the first take. It's we've all got this preconception that France, you're required to go out there with massive beds of bait and blah 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 blah. I ain't putting it out via a spin. I ain't good enough. I haven't got the inclination. The only time that my sort of marker rod, spom rod, came out was on the first couple of days, and Jake, the bailiff, said to me, look, you know, it's 14 maps here, 15 maps here, 20 maps there, blah 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 blah. And you know, I've got my marker rod out because I'd however good the Ray Marines and the deepers are, I don't quite trust it. I'd much rather just fill a braid onto a lead and go.
This is coming on to my point. The only thing that I would prefer to feel was the drop of the lead when you're finding a spot.
So this is another point I learned.
Yeah.
And me and Chopper discussed this. So I'm the same as you. I like to feel a drop. Of course we do. Yeah. You know, it's just that. Don't, however it's soft or what, you go, yeah, I like that. That's me. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with that. So when I was putting my bait boat out, I was holding the line tight.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I dropped it, trap the line, feel the drop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and I was doing that thinking, yeah, that's, you know, I feel the drop, I'm confident in that. And it wasn't until I spoke to Chop and he was like, no, because if you're fishing from a bait boat, you're potentially pendulum the lead back towards you. You should be sending your bait boat out via a slack line, because if you hold that line tight, as I was, to feel the drop, there's potential that the lead is going to pendulum back towards you.
But wouldn't that happen on a cast anyway? Because when you hit the spot, you hit the clip.
Yeah. But because you're fishing over a bait boat, the bait is going to drop vertical.
The bait will,
Yes, and then you're pulling it out the bait.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
And that's where, and it wasn't until until Chop said it, I was like, oh no. You know what I mean? That wasn't...
It's something you never think about.
Yeah, it wasn't at all. And that's just my perfect, I want to feel the lead. Same as what you've just said. And I was thinking, I've got this. I want to feel this lead down. Do you know what I mean?
But it's like growing up, I spun my bait out on my syndicate. I'd wrap it all up, fire out me hook bait, think, pucker, perfect. Well, until I watched, I think it was, might have been Mark Pitchers or Harry Charrington. They'd done a video of how much...
The swing back.
The swing back.
Yeah.
And I thought, all them years, I've never been fishing over my bait.
No.
And it's something I never thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that got me is Sipography. Elliot Gray and Tom Stokes did an underwater.
Yeah.
And they're casting I think it's something like, I don't know, Elliot, I think, says it's like the furthest cast to an underwater camera.
Right.
He's really struggling. It's like 80 yards, trying to land it on a dustbin lid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's difficult.
And the amount of springback on a mono at that distance, because you can see the underwater, the lead comes in and then bounces back off the camera.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and then you know. The problem is with that, and like you've just said, obviously you've got that swing back and you've had Harry Charrington and but you've still caught fish. So does it really matter?
Don't know.
In your head, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But realistically, it don't matter, does it? You've still caught. You're still happy with your own angling.
Yeah.
Which, you've just learnt a new piece of information.
Yeah, but single hook baits are fine.
What have I been spending all that money?
What a waste of money for the last 10 years.
Yeah, but realistically, it don't. I think that was the other game changer, and I don't think I'd fish mono. I'd fish fluoro. I'd fish £18 fluorocarbon.
Yeah, I'm still 50-50 on that.
I think if you're towing it out under a slack line from the rod tip, so your rod's on the rest, towing a bait boat out, there is no need for mono.
Right.
And I was, because we could see the fish showing, and they were, we all thought they were moving about, and they were moving about. I was fishing flying backleads to make sure I was pinned. So if the fish did move up into my swim, my area, same as what Shipsy was doing, I think Percy was doing the same as well.
Yeah.
We're all thinking, well, the lines aren't mid-water. So you're letting them come in and not think they're being angled for. They probably do. I think fish are more intelligent than what we give them credit for.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I think with fluoro, it'd stop all of that. Because you're on the deck, I've fished fluoro. It's unbelievable gear.
Yeah,
it takes a little bit of maintenance, but as I said to you on the phone, is you're there for a week. So all this maintenance of winding back in for a sponge, and I when I have fished fluoro, that's what I've done. Wound back, walk the line down the bank, pull it tight, and all that general maintenance. You're there for a week. Yeah. So just doing that, it's not really costing you any time, but the advantages are no backleads. Yeah. No flying backleads, no backleads, and you're pinned. You're pinned.
I hate backleads as well. They're so useful.
Oh,
they are useful, but they're a pain in the arse.
Yeah. Well, you use them flying ones, don't you?
Oh,
so it's like triple tangle.
Horrendous.
On the little kite thing.
It was horrendous.
Little kite handle. Captive backleads. That's it.
Oh God, they just get so tangled.
All I did is I just bought, I think it was like 15 NGT 1 ounce backleads off of Amazon for tenner, 15 quid. Do you know what I mean? And then don't matter if you lose a few or what. But I think the other thing is people don't realise with backleads is if there's a shelf around the margin of the lake, and then it drops off, which there was at Bay, how many people were doing their backleads and not actually shipping them out far enough to get them off that shelf, to get them pinned? Yeah. Because that shelf ain't going to go horizontal, vertical. No. It's going to go horizontal and then a diagonal down to the depths of the lake. Yeah. So when you are using a backlead, were people actually picking the rod tip up high as you can, making sure that backlead slides down the line correctly. Yeah. And I think, but it's one of those, I think with regards to French fishing, I think everybody, that you the week before as well, I think it's the massive game changer.
In what way?
Just get as much info as you can. I think if I was going back out to Bay, I would try and find out who's on there the week before and punish them with a little Facebook message.
We had that information, didn't we, this year? Was it you that found it?
Yeah, someone put so.
We saw a post, didn't we?
Saw a post, and then I managed to click on the geezer's profile, who was a little bit more in depth about it. And I think they were picking them up off. I think it said they were picking them up off solid bags or something.
Yeah, or small beds of bait, or something along those lines. Proper Facebook stalking.
But when me and Shipsy got there, I mean, we probably found 5 kilo of bait in the margin to our left.
Yeah.
You know, because
what the pellet? No, the particle.
No, it's boilie.
Oh, boilie.
Because we had swans. Yeah, the swans come and see us every day.
Right. And
they were just smashing up this. It's like a creamy dumbbell colour.
Wonder why they didn't take it home.
Don't know. The only fit freezer bait.
Maybe. Yeah. There's freezers there.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't.
Unless the only other thing I can think is if that they'd like washed it out and didn't want to take it home in water.
Possibly.
You know.
Biscuit break.
Oh,
so, the choices are hobnobs.
Yeah.
Chocolate hobnobs.
Elite.
Foxes. They're like a jammy dodger.
Yeah, I like them.
You don't sound too keen on them.
That's like a custard cream with a jammy dodger sensor.
Well, this brings me to my last biscuit. They are crunchy creams.
Not a fan of them.
But no?
No.
Right, so you're going chocolate hobnob then?
Yeah, I think so. I will have, probably for dessert, have the jammy dodger. Do you know what I mean? Just like eat probably 5 or 6 hobnobs and then the last one just top it off with one of them.
Spice it up a bit.
Yeah, like they look a bit savoury to me, like a starter. You know?
Talking about food.
Yeah.
So this year, obviously, we all wound in and went for dinner together.
Yes.
As a social aspect.
Yes.
Yay or nay? Did you like that or did you not? Or does it depend on, going back to what we were saying about going on holiday with your mates, does it depend on whether it's a holiday or a campaign? Does that depend on what venue you're going to?
I think if you're going there for a holiday, which I very much am, I'm all up for that.
So you enjoyed the social aspect?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Like every day I used to walk up and see you and Reese, brush my teeth, go to the toilet, sort my life out, wash my face and stuff. And if I didn't, I cannot sit in a swim for 24 hours. And that's not because I'm addicted to looking at the lake. It's because I haven't got the patience.
No.
And that's, don't get me wrong, I know that, I in my English fishing, I really struggle.
Yeah.
I end up getting my phone out. I end up doing non-angling activities when I'm there to fish. In France, it's very different. If I want to go for a walk, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go and see people I want to see, and I'm going to go and,
But I suppose this comes back to the point we made earlier about resting your peg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough, as I said, to double up with Shipsy, so I could afford to go and brush my teeth or go and have a shower, leave my rods in, not worry.
Yeah. It wasn't far, was it?
No, but Shipsy was in the swim anyway. He had my receiver, I had my receiver, but he had the alarms turned on loud.
Yeah.
So I cover. I think I would struggle fishing a swim where it was just me on my own for a week.
Yeah, no company.
I would get very, very bored.
Yeah.
And I'm all up for winding in, going and having a meal, going and having a few beers and seeing what everybody else is seeing, because I think if you've got 6 anglers around a lake, 12 eyes are better than one set.
Also, this is a big eye opener for me. What happened in France? Seeing the lake from somebody else's peg. it looks completely different.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, I fish the lake I fish in England is 30 something acres, 20 something acres.
Yeah,
it's not massive, but it's big enough that you can get your teeth into it.
Yeah.
But there, because you've got weed and you've got a lot more horizon markers, I can see the middle of the lake, and you can go, the middle of the lake is there.
Yeah.
Bay, I had no clue, absolutely nothing. No, and I don't know what was going on. My perspective was gone.
Yeah.
But then everybody would walk in my swim and go, or somebody would phone and go, bloody hell, your rods are, you're taking the mick with your rods.
Yeah.
And I'd go, well, no, I'm not. And then they'd walk round and they'd go, oh, no, you're not. What's going like? I've never known a lake where the perspective was so shot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which, going on to it again, we've as we was off air, we were just discussing about, potentially going next year. And I've just said, I think, is go on Google Maps, take a screenshot and measure it, and have proper, like BCAC swim maps, where you've got your boundary markers for your swims. Yeah. Because I think quite easily you can be, because nobody
can lose your perspective.
Yeah, and then you end up encroaching on somebody else's swim, and I don't think anyone does that on purpose. Yeah, but it does happen. I don't think anyone intentionally goes, "Oh, I'm going to cast."
That's the thing.
36 wraps and blah blah.
Yeah, even in the matches, the Crete Lakes match, we're all, as soon as you get your peg, there's a enlarged image of your water, tells you all your wraps, your boundaries. Yeah. Yeah, we should have done that.
And I think it's a bit like, like me and Reese, where there was a big gap between our swims, wasn't there? Yes. And I think having that, it would have meant that we could have, Reese could have gone, okay, I know I've got, I don't know, let's say 26 wraps between me and Dan, and I know I've got 26 wraps. That means that you can't, you're not going to fish at 26 wraps, coming back to the original point, but you ain't taking the piss, because nobody does it on purpose. Let's be honest, nobody.
Only Chris Percy.
But that, you end up. I don't want to catch a fish out of somebody else's water. No, it don't feel right, does it?
You don't. You don't mean to do it, but even me and Lloyd were fishing a margin. So we had a big margin, and it was so hard to keep track of, even with a margin.
Yeah.
I don't know why, just for some reason it was really difficult to find that middle of the lake.
Yeah.
On that particular lake.
I don't think I've ever, the problem is, I think a lot of places, I've never fished my English ticket, keep going back to it, is so quiet, busy on there, 30 something acres. 4 anglers, 5 anglers. So you always avoid them areas, because you don't want to sheep up someone. No. But whereas there you're stuck in your peg, and you want to make sure that you don't want to be put into that difficult conversation of you're sheeping me up, mate. Yeah. You're taking the piss. Yeah. And nobody does it on purpose.
No, they don't. But unless you've got that equipment like Shipsy's bait boat that tells you how far you...
But even then, we were standing there going, that's about middle.
Yeah.
And I've got a video of Carl, who fished opposite me, spomming. Mate, it looks like he spoms in my water. Yeah. It's nowhere near. No. But something, I don't know, it's like a magical spell on that lake or something. I don't know what it is, because everybody struggled.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, there wasn't one person that knew the middle consistently anyway. Yeah,
because there was the Rose running through the middle, which obviously Shipsy and I found with his Tolson bait boat, where it come up and plateaued. But whether that was the middle,
I can imagine that road's quite wide.
Yeah. I can
imagine it's quite wide. So going back to the gear you take to France, does that differ from the gear you use in the UK?
No, not at all.
No, mine doesn't.
The only thing that I would change, going back on the original, is the fluorocarbon. If I was using a bait boat, I'd be taking fluorocarbon, and I would potentially be trying to buy a bigger bivvy. I think that's about the only other thing.
Yeah, we had this discussion as well. The extenders.
Yeah, extenders,
game
or
changer.
you know, have a you know. I mean, I've got so many bivvies, but you want a big bivvy, and I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Where you've got intimate, you know, I mean, we had good weather Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The rain rolled in, and my extension come into its own because me and Shipsy were sitting in it.
Yeah,
and still, you know, you're not bivvy bounds. You can still socialise. You're not crammed in.
You can both sit in your porch. Yeah.
You know, not only that, because I was borrowing someone's bait boat, I was making sure the bait boat was in there every night.
Yeah.
You know, I was just, you know, like bait. I didn't want my sealed bags of bait. I didn't want them outside on the sunshine.
Yeah.
So I made sure they was inside.
Yeah.
You know, all of this stuff, and
it's a lot more stuff you can take out your actual bivvy and put.
Yeah.
And it's still out the sun.
Yeah.
In the dry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, it's all your stinky stuff, isn't it? You know, like I had pots of pop-up, like all my pop-ups were in there. You know what I mean? All my my rig making equipment was in there because that's where I was sitting all day.
Yeah, you can have your essentials in your bivvy next to your bed.
Yeah, you know, head torch and stuff all lives inside your bivvy, and then your porch. You know, like you look at Reese's setup. He had that chest of drawers.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Shipsy had his desk.
Yeah, because he was working.
He had a desk, but he was so crammed in there that I just think an extension is the game changer. Or get a proper two-man bivvy where you have got that space, but you need it so you can open the front out. Yeah,
I agree.
Because you can get, you know, you don't want to sit in your bivvy all week. I mean, that's no fun, is it? That's not.
No.
You know, you need to be able to look at the water, or I certainly do anyway. I need to look at the water. I get bored after a while, but you know, you need to be able to keep your eyes on and feel like you're fishing, not just sitting in a tent all week.
100%.
Whereas I think with a porch, you do get that.
Yeah, you do. Especially if you both got it.
Yeah.
You can have a decent chinwag.
Yeah.
And actually look at each other.
Well, you come round and we had that, like cold meats and
cheese and crackers.
Cheese and crackers night.
That's handsome,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah. You know, and that was us sitting in the porch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's when we hosted you. I mean, Shipsy disappointed me there, but the one night we had guests.
That was a brilliant evening. That was class.
What did he forget? Pickles, wasn't it?
You forgot the pickle,
yeah, gherkins and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? If you're having cold meats, and, like if you're having sort of like charcuterie board, you need something with a bit of twang to it, and there just wasn't, was there?
All right. So apart from cheese and pickle, what other snacks are a necessity for France? What's your go-tos?
Sweets, like proper pick-a-mix sweets.
Reese was really angry with me this year.
Why?
Because he.
You know this is going to be angry with a real, like, yeah. I can imagine Reese's anger.
He said he was bringing snacks.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd just have like a couple of packs of Haribo. He bought a holdall full of snacks.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Why? This has frustrated me now. Why am I only hearing this now when we're back in the UK?
Because everyone knows what you're like.
Yeah. You asked Chopper.
I know, Chopper told me. And I turned up with nothing. I didn't take any snacks at all, so I just ate Reese's all week, really.
Yeah. The other thing is he's going out. I think coming off the lake for a day, I think that's a massive one as well.
Yeah.
Going back to snacks, I think you need to take snacks for half the week.
Yeah.
And then go and buy some French snacks. Because there are some good French snacks.
Yeah.
Lay's crisps. The barbecue Lay's crisps.
They're the ones, aren't they?
Addictive.
Still can't get them in the UK, though.
No, although I think I found a Polish shop in Tunbridge Wells that does them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah. Barbecue Lay's. And fizzy drinks. The Coke's not the same, but you can buy it all out there.
Yeah, you can get it all out there.
It's how much effort you want. But I think getting off the lake for a day, even if drive to the supermarket, go and have a walk round Wednesday, Thursday, and then come back, because you come back with a fresh. You
do.
back with a fresh face.
Especially when it's fishing hard.
Yeah.
If it's fishing hard, go and clear your mind for half a day, sorts you right out.
Yeah. Rest your swim.
And coming back again, resting the peg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was so important in our trip.
Yeah.
Resting the peg. Let them move about in unpressured water.
Yeah.
And the proof was in the pudding.
Yeah.
Because it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked
really, really worked.
Yeah, it did. Well, that was good chat for the first one.
Yeah, I think so, mate.
Yeah.
Positive.
Tad,
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to see you, mate.
Absolute pleasure.
And you'll be on again, no doubt.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next one.
Yeah.
Try and make it a bi-weekly thing if we can.
Bi-weekly.
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 Is that the right word?
2 weekly.
2 weekly?
Bi-monthly, I think that works out at.
Oh, right.
But,
All right.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, Tad.
Fish are looking glorious.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're
we haven't spoken about them, actually.
No, we haven't. It's a good backdrop. That mirror there is 20. No, he's 30 years old now.
Is it really?
Yeah, the mirror is. Yeah, yeah. Come out of my wife's friend's pond, who had it for 23, 24 years.
The crazy thing is, that still looks like a stocky to me.
Yeah, I know. But yeah,
which just comes back to the whole thing of how much stress are we putting on these fish?
Yeah.
If that's a 30-year-old pond fish.
Yeah. Molly, her name is.
Molly.
Yeah, I didn't name her.
It ain't a mongoloid, is it?
No.
No, mega. Absolutely mega.
Yeah. No, it's my pride and joy.
Yeah.